Hello and welcome to the show. I am here on GTA 5, continuing my search for the best driving roads that I can find. What we are tackling today is a map called Hako. It is a very, very narrow, windy kind of mountain pass, if you like. We do start off by a big old giant kind of black wall, but yeah, that's kind of like the edge, the one end of the map, and we're going to snake our way up the hill. The car I'm using is the Taipan. It's another one of the sort of full-on supercars slash hypercars with slightly strange wheels and I say a fairly generic shape. The front, it's all the same as all the other ones. I do quite like the back of this car, and I especially like that there is an option for a quad exhaust. A mid-mounted quad exhaust is always cool. You can actually have exhausts up kind of around by, or underneath the brake, to the brake lights. Can we, hold on, can we get that to, there we go. It's kind of like underneath where that main sort of brake light sits. You can get exhaust up around there as well. It's quite an interesting car. Of the new, more recent supercars, I have to say this might be one of my favourites of the lot. I don't know if it's any good to drive or anything, but to look at, I think this might be one of my personal favourites. Now, I did have a very quick drive through these first couple of corners of this map to make sure it's all loaded and so on. The first thing that immediately strikes you, of course, is how narrow it is. Sure, this is a supercar. Supercars are wide. However, there is not much in the way for, well, margin for error on this road. There really is not room whatsoever. A lot of the corners are blind, so I don't know whether that's a fast corner or whether that's a slow corner. The answer is kind of a medium speed corner. There are crash barriers, certainly along this first part. There are crash barriers the entire way, so if you get things a little bit wrong, you will just ping off of those. There's no real... And so far, no real massive sense of danger down this one. No real, you make a little mistake and you go falling off of the cliff. Although it is a little bit more decorative road. Oh, okay, I found a hole in the crash barriers. Haha. Sorry, I digress. We can sneak our way through. I think there's only an invisible wall over there. We've found a place where you could make a mistake and get into trouble, like more serious trouble, anyway. Yeah, as far as roads go, this one, as far as modded roads go, let's not forget here that this is not exactly what GTA 5 was initially intended for. These are sort of completely fresh, completely new, modded-in roads, and yeah, scenery-wise, it is a little bit prettier. Still a tad janky in places. Oh god, where do we loop our way around now? Are we continuing further along? I'm not sure where we're going. I'm not sure where we're going at all. Corner-wise, actually got a good mixture of turns so far. That balance between the high-speed stuff, the balance, and again, the more you know, the more you learn the road, the better off you will be. Christ, it's getting very, very narrow. Like, this is getting narrow to the point where if I was trying to drive along one side of the road, you would really be struggling to fit this supercar down here comfortably. We've got like a little lay-by to pull over in. Okay, that's a tighter corner there. That's quite a nasty tight corner up that part. And again, through these next turns. I am liking this car. I don't think we're quite getting up to full-on ridiculous levels of speed with this vehicle. I think we're already doing kind of 80, 90. Again, this is without the car, without the crazy levels of tuning upgrades on the vehicle. Ooh, we've got a tunnel. Like a good tunnel. Still the road continues onwards. Yeah, you can't go wrong with a good tunnel on a nice mountain road. We're going to get up towards 100 miles an hour. No, apparently our supercar seriously struggling with the old top speed malarkey. And that does look like... Well, that doesn't look like it for the road. Oh no! Oops. Can I go back through? No. Okay. I guess we're gonna have to cheat then. Where's? Oh, that's because I pressed the wrong key. GT. Pop. Okay, so don't go off all the way through the edge there. Right, so it's a little bit of a shorter road. That's not necessarily a bad thing, though. Don't get me wrong. Not necessarily a bad thing. You don't have to have a million miles of road for it to be good fun. Now, what I would like to do is see what it would be like with the car at a sort of supercar, hypercar level of performance. About 50 times on the power multiplier would give this car a more equivalent top speed. I mean, we're talking sort of 180, 190 miles an hour top speed, probably out of all of this. It's going to accelerate like mad. Do we actually know if this is rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive? I have not checked. The simple way to check outside of looking in the config files is to put the car up against a wall. Ooh, okay, so this is a proper rear-wheel drive hypercar. Again, nice to see. Right, so what is it like when we have a properly quick car tackling this? Now, we are going to be going, of course, in the downhill direction. It's not the steepest of hills, I'll be honest here. It is not the steepest of hills that we are tackling. It's fairly gradual incline. I don't actually think those wheels have really stopped spinning through a lot of the... a lot of that section. Oh, that's a nasty habit. I think the blindness of some of the corners, until you've really learned the road, as I take away from some of the fun. Perhaps that's an unfair way of phrasing it. It's tough to carry real good speed down here because you just don't know if the corner's going to be open or not. Until you're halfway, right? Until you're already committed, you don't know whether that turn is going to open up, whether that turn is going to get tighter, whether there's going to be a wall. That's to say whether there's going to be a wall there. Safe to assume there's going to be a wall everywhere down here. It's also a very good thing that there is not traffic around here. Oi! Even with the power turned up, this thing is remarkably controllable. Yeah, I'm continuing to like my car choice here. I'm glad I went for a drive in this. I might have pinged a wall slightly. Just a smidge pinged a wall. Yeah, it's good fun. Actually, like, this sort of level of performance out of the car is... Oh! Okay, that's fine. I had a small heart attack there. This is the sort of level of performance you want out of your car. You can really throw it around these roads, and it just grips. There's that tiny little bit of slip from the rear when you're really being a moron. Just there. But it's not a big, leery, oversteery monster. Oh, okay, I'll carry too much speed into there. Oh, we FailRaced it. Oh, we've really FailRaced it. Okay, that was the blind corner thing. I was getting a bit cocky. I was getting a little bit cocky and a little bit carried away. I should point out, actually, I didn't paint this car in FailRace colours. This is the colours that the car spawned in. Like, this is its default colours, which is, again, another good sign. You know a vehicle's going to be good when the default colours are in the black and orange. But you also know that if a car's in black and orange... Oh, I grabbed the handbrake by accident there. Yeah, you also know if the car's in black and orange, there is a very good chance it's going to end up on its roof. I think we cracked 100 miles an hour. Probably not for the first time, because I wasn't able to pay attention to the speedo at any of the earlier points around here. I'm going to crack 112. A little bit of a ding on the wall. Yes. Give it this level of performance, and this is excellent. This is absolutely excellent. I think we're coming towards the end. I think I remember that little section there. I do like that section. Just the quick changes of direction as you're accelerating away. And there we go. That is to the end of the road. It's so narrow that actually turning around normally is very difficult to achieve. It's not an easy turnaround. It's not an easy turnaround there whatsoever. Now, in a full-on hypercar, that road definitely ticks a lot of boxes. Definitely ticks a lot of boxes. However, for an ultimate driving road, you need to be good with not just an ultra-fast car. Well, this definitely ticks the boxes for not an ultra-fast car. This is the Rune Chebarak. It is essentially a little Lada, which is fine. We need more little Ladas in games. Again, weird, obscure cars, always good. Now, as far as modification-wise goes, there was a little bit on the hypercar. This has got considerably more in terms of modifications. You can have a full-on cardboard body kit. I'm kind of tempted to go for... Ooh. Okay, I mean, what do we go for, though? That's the maddest spoiler I've ever seen. I want that, and I want... Oh, I want that, and I want a cardboard bumper. But I do want rally bumpers and stuff. There's so many good choices of stuff for this car. Okay, like, these vehicles are some of the most fun that you have in GTA 5 because they actually have some fun customization to them. I was hoping for a full rally kit. I think we're going to have to go. Maybe we go for the full cardboard kit just with that wing. There isn't quite as many rally parts as I had hoped we might have, which is a little bit of a shame. But there we go. Yeah, we'll cover up the headlights. Perfect. We can have cardboard vents on the bonnet. Perfect. Can we have a carbon bonnet? We can't have like a race bonnet with a... they're not really making a blind bit of difference. It's got to be the cardboard vents. Can we have carbon? We can have... Oh, we can have like little fenders. That's quite cool. Quite like those. They're quite nice. We can have double wings. We can even have vortex generators if you want on the top. You can have some luggage. But of course, we've got to have a cardboard vent on this. Oh, we can have liveries. Sorry, as well if we want. The kind of... There we are, look at that. Perfect. It looks like a full-on cheapskate race car. Looks like something that would be in the 24 Hour of Lemons, basically. Oh, amazing. Amazing, I like it. Do we, for fun... I think for fun we will take it... We'll send it up the mountain at 50 times power. See how the car fares, because it's going to be 50 times the acceleration. Well, I'll say 50 times the acceleration. It's going to be 50 times the power, which is going to give the car ludicrous acceleration, but we will have no advantages in terms of grip or brakes. It only affects the way the car accelerates away up this road. I quite like it with this level of power, I'll be honest. Okay, this thing does accelerate. I mean, I thought 50... the 50 times, it sounds like absurd numbers. I'm not quite sure it works in the conventional... Like, if you imagine this car had 100 horsepower to begin with, I mean, that's probably being generous. It doesn't quite... GTA doesn't quite have horsepower numbers. It's kind of like a base power multiplier sort of. I don't quite know, but it's not essentially like you've built a 100 horsepower engine now you've times that by 50. That's not quite how it works in this game. So yeah, it's not like we've got a many thousands of horsepower going on in here. We are just little wall taps along the way. Again, like this... Okay, yeah, this is nowhere near as fast as the supercar, as you could expect. But I mean, this is the sort of level of performance you'd want out of your sports cars. Ideally, I know this isn't a sports car. It's quite a twitchy bugger, the little Lada. It is... I mean, don't say it's quite a twitchy bugger. That's because of the power. But I imagine when we drive it down here from standard, it's going to do fairly... Or be able to do fairly similar things if you push the car around. Yeah, it's while it's twitchy, it's actually relatively controllable. Again, we're driving this at ludicrous speeds for the car, and there is still a pretty large amount of grip here. Again, not changed anything in terms of the grip. I'd say I was pretty impressed with the level of grip. The brakes aren't actually faring too badly either. Sometimes when you do this with the more ridiculous cars, they just don't stop. I mean, think of like the rat truck. When it's not ridiculously modified, you go on the brakes on that and nothing happens. I'm being a little bit silly with the car because I'm not quite sure how fast I can get away with the corners. It really is just throw it into a turn and the back end will want to come around and say hello. I think that's largely because just the massive overspeed I have coming up towards these corners. Oh, that's a wider corner we could have got away with. Yeah, kind of wide. Oh, that's not a wide corner. That's fine, we'll do a wall ride. We meant to do that. Legitimate tactics right there. Legitimate cornering methods. Definitely legitimate cornering methods. No brown trouser moments involved in any of that whatsoever. Oh, yeah. I quite like this car with this amount of performance. It's ridiculous. It's quite fun. Now, can we get up here? I'd imagine we should be able to. Cool. So let's go and take away all of that power. Now, can we have as much fun with all of the power removed? That is kind of the real important question. You'll probably have more fun coming down the hill than going up the hill with this, with all of the power removed. Okay, car. We've still got more than enough power. We've got more than enough power to do donuts. It looks like we do. An excellent spot for well, not quite enough for full donuts. Sort of lazy... Oh, they are slightly lazy one-tyre fire donuts, if that counts. Okay, I remember the diff isn't amazing in this. Has somebody... Oh! We've found a FailRace fence. Things have got a little awry. I will be honest. Oh, okay, so we definitely don't want to hit that, because that is a magical FailRace fence. I approve of your fences right there. That is very impressive. Okay, so not got ludicrous levels of power in this car. How is it going to... I say not got ludicrous levels of power. I mean, this is still getting up to some pretty solid speeds. What I think we're probably going to see, if anything, this car is going to... It has that similar kind of characteristics where you chuck it in really hard, the back end's going to let go. You're at a slightly bit more manageable speed. There's a lot more... This is a lot more fun to drive than I feared it might end up being. They have made this car relatively fast. I say relatively... relatively fast, yeah, relatively comparable to some of the other vehicles. We're not going to find out what it's going to top out at around here, of course, because this is nowhere near a fast enough road. But yeah, we're doing 70, 80 miles an hour, no problem, on what is a very, very technical little road with a lot of blind corners. As far as the road goes itself here, Hako, it's certainly a damn good place, and certainly something quite different. This narrower confined, okay, it widens up in a couple of places. This narrower confines is good. It's good, interesting, slightly scary driving. We'll probably need to learn the area a little bit before you can really aggressively attack these corners, because you really can't see. Some of the roads we're doing at Driver's Paradise, okay, I didn't know them, but you could kind of see a little bit ahead. There were still some blind corners, but here it is nearly all blind. But after a few runs, you'll probably get the hang of it. Being not too long on a road means that you don't have to spend hours if you actually want to vaguely learn where you are going. If you are into the old drifting, I'm sure this is a very good place for that. It's still a good... If you're into just sort of time trialing and just driving cars quickly, finding out if you like the handling of a car, yeah, this is not a bad place at all to go. There's a good mixture of corners, nothing really ultra high speed. As we saw with the hypercar, it will barely pass 100 miles an hour, but it does mean if you have a slower car or you want to go racing with sort of slower cars, etc., this sort of vehicle is still very good fun down here. If it's too ultra high speed, you just don't have much fun. Hell, with a lot of GTA 5 cars, you don't have much fun because they just top out at 120 until you start modding performance, etc. Oops, I was trying to push how far I could get that one to go. Pushed it a little bit too far. Yeah, I mean, scenery-wise, of course you can tell this is a modded area, but it is perhaps prettier than a fair few that we have seen. Okay, yeah, there's some sort of PS1 trees around the place, a little bit of clipping here and there, but yeah, on the whole, pretty nice-looking area. Perhaps shame we don't have a better turning around point, certainly at the bottom end of the course. It's not really anywhere to turn the cars around. You've just got this sort of solid wall, and a three-point turn in the road is not the easiest of bits. But overall, a good fun technical challenge, a different sort of challenge to the roads that I've driven before, and there isn't the danger, nor is there any points in which you're going to get airtime with the cars, if that's something you're after. Yeah, you're perhaps not quite going to find that here. However, that's going to set fire to the cardboard. However, for a small, lightweight, relatively low on power kind of car, if you want a road to really throw it around and have a lot of fun in, this car is not bad for that either. I'll give credit where credit is due. The cardboard monster is pretty good on its way up through this course. That, though, is going to be it for this video. As ever, I shall link all the mods used in the description, so you can download them, have a go with them yourself. As I said, this is a rather different driving experience to a lot of the normal roads you will find in GTA 5. However, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.